Hi, welcome to the F1 Time Portal, a Formula One history podcast started by two Formula One maniacs. I'm your host, Rosa.
And I'm your Imagine host, Luigi. And today we're taking you back to the 1971 season, part 1. So let's go.
Hello, Louis.
Imagine.
Yes.
Imagine if F1 was fair.
Oh, you had to start with that.
Yeah, I had to find a way.
What?
Imagine if running other drivers off the track was penalised.
What about just imagine if there was no F1? How about that?
Oh, okay, that's nicer.
That's nicer.
I went straight for the throat, didn't I?
You went straight for the jugular. Goodness me.
Yes,
but yeah, good song, Imagine. Probably, would you say that's one of his best John Lennon singles?
Yeah, probably definitely one of his biggest, that's for sure.
Biggest, yes, for sure.
And it was released in 71, and for those of you that are Beatles fans like myself, they know that the Beatles ended in 1970, and he certainly started his solo career with a bang, didn't he?
Yes, big bang.
Yeah, a song that people still refer to today and
yes, absolutely.
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and, you know, isn't getting cancelled for lots of reasons, which your previous song did.
Yeah, that's right, which we won't name. I had another song, everyone, that was considered offensive. And I didn't realise it was offensive until I Googled it and was like, yep, it's offensive. That's going to offend people. But what we should imagine is how 1970 ended well for Ferrari.
Oh, it was such a good ending.
And Ferrari should be imagining what 71 has for them, right?
Yes, they should. They should be like really looking forward to 1971.
Well, they lost.
What'd they do?
They won their last 4 races of the 70 season. So surely on paper, this is a Ferrari season.
Surely. Everyone is sort of expecting him to be. They had that 12-cylinder Ferrari. They were very powerful, as we saw at the end of 1970, but they also sounded really, really good. They sounded like an engine. Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm going to pivot a little bit to current Formula One. I know we should do that too much in this podcast series because
we are a history.
We're a history podcast, but we are recording this in mid 2025. And the reason I'm flagging that is I don't know if you've heard, Rosa, they're talking in Formula One about bringing the V10s back.
Yes, I have heard that.
It's interesting, isn't it? And then here we are talking about the awesome sounding V12s of 70s and all that. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. We went to the Melbourne Grand Prix and I don't need earplugs when I need earplugs when I'm listening to the F3s and the F2s, but not the F1s. It's fine.
It's weird, isn't it?
It's a bit sad. Yes. So anyway, we're going into 1971 with a Ferrari warning shot. Is that what's happening?
Correct, yes.
But there are other teams using V12s as well. Like there's the Metro and BRM, but they're probably not as strong as Ferrari looked last year. And, they've also updated their chassis as well. But we're not going to go too deep into that. Otherwise, we're just going to get ourselves caught into a technical podcast again.
Yeah, and we know, like we do sometimes go into those little sessions that I run, very poor education sessions about suspension and gearboxes. But no, we focus on the main things. We focus on the stories, the personalities and the racing primarily, right? Yeah.
So, and also Cosworth, who's V8, as we have seen, has ruled F1 for a very long time, suddenly sort of feel a little bit threatened by this V12 power. So they focus on their reliability in 1971.
They're trying to do a Repco.
Yes, they are.
So Cosworth fell victim, I guess, to their own success because they had so many customer teams that when things went wrong, their head office basically got flooded with work. And they were having a bit of an unreliable, challenging session in the 70s. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, you know, they were always a bit unreliable, weren't they? Like, you know, we always, so with so many engines out there, they were having to deal with a lot of performance issues. So to deal with all of that, they outsourced their repairs for the 69 and 70 engines to third parties and kept their in-house team focused purely on the new 1971 spec. And they gave priority to their top-tier teams like Lotus and not their customer teams, which, again, you'd understand.
Yeah, normally they pick one or two, right?
Yeah.
But tyres do that as well. They align with the top teams. And speaking of Lotus, they started their year with the 72C and later rolled out the upgraded 72D at Monaco. So that 72 is a pretty awesome car, and it's continuing on. And I mean, it's a great package. Why change it?
Well, they did try to change it with an innovation. They're going to try this year a gas turbine engine. So it has a gas generator at the back and a power turbine at the front.
Well, I mean, yeah, that sounds like a jet engine, but let's face it, these things never survive.
No. Even for Lotus, I think it's going to be a failed innovation. But anyway, it probably sounded really good on the track.
I don't know. Did it sound good? I remember reading about when Jim Clark drove the gas engine car in the Indy car.
Oh, right.
And it was silent.
What?
Like it was.
That would be horrible.
Like when I say silent, maybe not like the term was you could hear the tyres coming.
Oh, wow.
You know, like a bit like an electric car.
Yeah, like an electric car today.
Yeah. So apparently gas turbines don't like
sound
loud.
Great. Oh.
You're imagining a factory or something, were you? Like a little mini factory in the back of the car.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, it was also
go on.
super heavy and very complicated, and you had to brake and accelerate at the same time. It had no clutch.
Well, it does sound novel. You have to give Lotus credit because they get it right and they get it wrong. But
I know.
when they get it right, they really get it right.
But no gears, no clutch. That sounds weird.
It does sound weird.
Yes.
It would. I mean, yeah. Anyway, ahead of the time.
Yes, ahead of his time again. Over at Brabham, Jack officially retired after I was calling for his retirement for like a year and a half. He's officially retired.
Yeah.
And his team control shifted to his partner, Ron Taranaki, and he built the brand new BT34, better known as the Lobster Claw. Now, I've got a picture of it in our notes here, Luigi, but I do think people should go and find a picture of it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting looking car and it's worth Googling, as Rosa said. So if you can look at it and not compromise your driving, it's worth looking up. I would say it's an unusual looking car, and this particular car that, Rosa, you've picked is green and gold.
Yes.
I don't know if that's Australia or British racing colours. I have seen this car in other colours as well.
Oh,
but the green and gold particularly looks worse.
It looks very bad.
It does look bad.
Yes.
And they actually signed a young driver making his Formula One debut to lead their team, Mr. Graham Hill.
I was going to say, who are you saying, Luigi? What are you talking about? Yes.
Yeah. Why? It makes me wonder, why did they sign Graham Hill? I mean, come on, Graham Hill's been in the wilderness a little bit. You know what I mean? So anyway, they've obviously picked unbelievable experience. Obviously, I'm joking, everyone double champion, all that sort of stuff. While Aussie Tim Schenken joined the team in the older model car.
Well, I guess he sort of dodged a bullet there because he didn't have to drive the car with the claws. So, and incidentally, Bernie Eccleston buys the Brabham team this year. And Graham Hill was available because Rob Walker called it quits and Surtees took over the Rob Walker team. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Lots of changes there.
Lots of changes, yeah.
And this is Bernie Eccleston's first foray as a team manager.
That's right.
Team owner.
Team owner.
Because he was the team manager of Jochen Rindt.
Yes. But, so this is his first Mr. Formula One activity, I guess.
So we'll be keeping an eye on Mr. Eccleston because he certainly plays a part. And every time you see people talk about the biggest influences in Formula One history, he's pretty much at the top of the list.
Yeah,
and I think no one beats him in terms of what he did for the sport. So McLaren also introduced a new car, the round and bulbous, I would say, ugly car. You haven't got it in the picture, but I know what it looks like. Let me see if I can find a picture in my other magazine. I'm just having a... Oh, yes, I've got it in front of me. You know, it's not ugly. You know what it looks like? It looks like it's got love handles.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Would you say it's a good summary?
Yeah. I think like all the cars in this era are very distinctive and they all look so different. Like, that is interesting about the 70s. Like, there are some weird things coming, like, out through this era.
Until we talk about the car of 71, which is coming.
Which is coming. I know, that was a bit of an intro for the car that we're about to talk about.
It was the intro. Okay, so this is the March. What was it called? The March 711.
711.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it had side-mounted radiators like the revolutionary Lotus 72, but the front wing was, okay, this is an interesting word, an ovoid front wing.
Yes.
I think I'm not even going to use. I mean, I see, Rosie, you've written the word Spitfire for its shape. No, let's call it tea tray.
Yeah, it's a tea tray.
Yeah, it looks bad. It looks real bad.
It's so weird.
It's so weird. Yeah, go on.
It's like someone has literally, like, it's a flat piece of. It looks like a tray. Like you could serve tea on it, and they've just bolted it onto the front nose cone. It's just strange.
It's strange, and it wasn't slow. That's the weird thing. At least it performed a bit, but yeah, this is one you have to look up.
Yes, you have to look it up.
And just appreciate that won a race. Or
it
more.
Did.
Who knows? I can't say how many more.
But that wing was very, like, they couldn't change the trajectory of it or the angle because it's fixed. It's like a fixed piece of whatever. And so sometimes I had to take it off. Although a lot of wings came off at Monza, but I think they took it off more than once because it just wasn't working at some tracks.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's unusual. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so what about Tyrrell? The champions they were the Constructors' Champions of 70, right? I think they were.
Yes, yeah, they.
Oh, no. Of 1970, Lotus were the Constructors' Champions.
Oh, wow. But they were the driver champion.
Yes.
Well, their car didn't change much. They did some minor refinements, but nothing flashy or radical, as you would with a championship-winning car, I guess.
Or a very competitive car.
Yes.
Because it didn't win the championship, but it was very competitive. And that seems to be their winning strategy. And even Mike Lang in our reference book, Grand Prix, just as a reminder, we use that book as one of our primary references. Oh, I don't say it. Okay.
I thought we weren't going to say that. We've actually changed
I won't say it. We won't say it.
We've actually changed the name of our podcast as well.
Yes.
That you'll see. Just to keep a few little secrets in the back pocket.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Mike Lang does his annual reviews and he does giveaways in his season reviews. And Rose and I have decided to exert executive influence and say, we are going to not reveal the champion so people can enjoy the journey if they don't know who's going to win. So I nearly dropped it, but I didn't.
Goodness. So in the driver market, March saw big changes. Both Amon and Siffert left after a very frustrating 1970. Amon joined Matra as a lead driver. So that will be interesting for Amon. He doesn't seem to make good decisions. He seems to make unlucky choices, I think.
He seems to be in teams at the wrong time.
Yes, exactly. And Siffert replaced Jackie Oliver at BRM. BRM's still going, Louis.
Yeah, I know. And Siffert is a really good driver too. So let's see where he goes. Let's see if he makes a good decision, unlike maybe Amon. So Mario Andretti, who we know is also a big name in Formula One, he made some part-time appearances for Ferrari whenever his American commitments allowed it. So we don't see him as much as we'd like to.
No, he's still not like full-time in Formula One, is he? He's like...
No.
But he's with Ferrari now, so...
Yeah, it's funny that when he does turn up, he's in straight into a first-tier team. So good on him for that.
So one final note as we head into the season proper, Dunlop exited Formula One at the end of 1970, and the big challenge this year was tyre vibration caused by the new 24-inch diameter tyres, which I'm assuming are getting bigger.
Yeah. And that's what the good thing about these 70s cars. The back tyres look big. They look like little dragsters. Yeah. And Goodyear, however, figured it out faster than Firestone, and both were essentially in some sort of an arms race. and they were constantly adjusting compounds to eliminate the shaking. So obviously it was a real challenge for the teams.
So we also see the introduction of slick tyres from Firestone this season. And it was interesting. I don't know, Louis, did you read about how that came about? Apparently, Andretti was doing some testing in the US, I think it was, and he didn't wait for his tyres to have the tread cut into them. Well, I think he forgot, or he thought they had already been cut. So he just went out. He just took his car out, and he just, like, the times he set was super fast. And they go, oh, maybe we don't need the tread. And that's how they were introduced. So interesting.
What an amazing story. Yeah.
And it's been challenged. It's been challenged. People go, oh, you've just made that up. But Andretti has confirmed it, and there were witnesses there as well. And they've said, no, that's exactly how it happened. So it was an accident.
Wow. I mean, like most great inventions.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So they are used, those new slick tyres are used on and off throughout the season depending on the conditions. But the first win on full slicks for the entire race would be with Goodyear at the French Grand Prix, but we won't spoil who won that. But
yeah,
that's
interesting.
That's got to be in the quizzes. That's got to be in a quiz.
Yeah.
Which is the first slick race. I didn't even know about that.
There you go.
71. Yeah.
But it's interesting that Firestone invented it, but then Goodyear perfected them, I guess, and won the race.
Yeah. That sucks, doesn't it, for them?
It does suck, yeah. And thankfully, safety was getting a bit more attention, as we know it should. So the 1970 German GP had already been moved from Nürburgring, and the 1971 Belgian GP was also relocated pending safety upgrades. So there's a bit more activity and a bit more safe from the drivers there now.
Yeah, because there's been enough deaths. There really has.
Yeah.
So, and tracks across the board were adding guardrails, catch fencing, rear warning lights for low visibility conditions, especially in rain or mist. So this is all new.
And that it was mandated that a driver needed to be able to be evacuated himself or by someone else from the cockpit within 5 seconds.
Yeah, now that's fast because they're setting a high standard.
Yeah. I wonder whether it'd be interesting to see whether they actually achieve that. So, but anyway.
And remember the pit stops at these times were over 10 seconds. So the mere fact they want the driver out in 5, that's pretty good. So they're setting a good standard.
It's funny, Luigi, when you say that, because we just did the Jordan episodes a while ago.
Yeah,
and
I remember the commemorative Eddie Jordan one.
Yes, I watched that 1998 race, and I watched the pit stops. It's hilarious. Did you watch? Like, they're just like slowly putting the tyres in, but that's because they were refueling at the same time, so that took longer. But it's so funny now seeing pit stops today compared to pit stops. That was 98, so it wasn't that far away. It wasn't that long ago, but it was.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, and. When you say today, we're talking 2025.
25.
Regularly in the low 2-second range.
Like 2.8 seconds, 2.5 seconds.
Well, the record's 2.1 or something. I think they're getting to the limit of how fast a human can physically do it.
Yes, that's right.
Short of getting Arnold Schwarzenegger's to specialized muscle men or women that are just geared to just do
I know. And you can't actually fit any more people around the car. Like, there's like 3 people per tyre now. One to take it off, one to put it on.
Little tiny muscly people. We'll leave it at that, shall we?
On that note, we might just head into the season. Let's go, hey?
Yeah. Now, we've changed a few things, Rosa, haven't we? So we're making the race reviews a little bit more evenly split.
Yes.
Between me and you. So that's a bit more fun, makes it a bit more conversational. And we're not going to share the same odd information like number of drivers and grid formation. So just like Formula One evolves, we evolve.
Yeah, that's right. Grid formation is becoming less and less important, and same with number of drivers. So I think back in the day when sometimes a race started with like 7 people, we're sort of seeing consistent numbers, except for Monaco. And when it happens, we kind of deal with it in our race reviews. So we're just going to, All right, so where are we for race 1, Louis?
What race 1? There's 11 races this season. The South African Grand Prix. It's at Kyalami. It's on the 6th of March. You remember the old days? It always used to be like the 1st of Jan or something.
That's right.
79 lap race, and the weather was hot.
Well, we're kicking off the season with a very a sad heart, I think, and a bit of controversy.
Yeah, because before a single lap was raced, unfortunately, the motorsport world lost Italian driver, I'll give it a go, Ignazio Giunti.
Giunti. Yeah,
Giunti.
Ignazio Giunti.
Okay.
Yeah.
He tragically passed during a sports car race in Argentina after a collision with Beltoise's Matra.
So at the time, Beltoise had run out of fuel and he was actually pushing his car back to the pits, which understandably was seen as quite dangerous, and he ended up being held primarily responsible for the crash.
Yeah, and I mean, this has happened a lot in recent history of Formula One, but safety standards are going up, right?
Yes.
So the fallout was that Beltoise wasn't allowed to participate in this F1 race, pending an investigation, and it was a tough call, but they're trying to put safety first.
Yeah. So Giunti's F1 career was quite short. He just had 4 races, but it was quite impressive. He debuted with Ferrari at the 1970 Belgian Grand Prix and he finished 4th. And people were already comparing him to Regazzoni, who had also landed with a splash.
Yeah, I remember them in the races last year when the driver changes happened, I think. So Regazzoni had the upper hand, but Ferrari still signed Giunti for 1971. So they obviously saw potential with this guy. And he was even leading the sports car race when he died. So he was only 29 years old and he was chasing his F1 dream. And who knows, he could have been a big name.
Yes, so we remember him today for his passion and that ultimate sacrifice, as we do for drivers who lose their lives.
Yeah. So moving into first practice now, Stewart laid down a serious lap that wasn't just a pole-worthy time. It was a whole second faster than Regazzoni in the Ferrari. Now, remember, Ferrari have won 4 of the last 5 races.
Yes, I know. I was about to say that is not a good start. But anyway, we're going to continue on with the Jackie Stewart era, it seems. So he was on Goodyear tyres, which did have some vibration issues, but not nearly as bad as the Firestone teams are facing.
Yeah. And Chris Amon finally got close to near the end of the session with getting close to Stewart's time, but he was still 6/10 off.
Okay, well, like we said, hopefully things get better for Amon this season. He's not had good luck when choosing which team. So, yeah.
He's up there. Yeah, I mean, he's one of my favourite drivers, but let's see how Amon goes with this new team.
Yes.
So the grid, Stewart is in P1, Amon is in P2 in the Matra, Regazzoni P3 in the Ferrari, and Andretti in one of his special joinings is in P4.
That's Ferrari.
In the Ferrari,
yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Ferrari in P3 and P4. But where was X? Their star. I mean, I'm sure he won most of those 4 races at the end of 1970.
I have to double check again. It's been a while, but he's all the way down in 8th, and he was battling car issues. So,
okay. Well, to the race start, the flag was waved almost immediately, and Stewart and Amon were totally caught napping. So cars zipped past them on both sides, and Regazzoni from P3 launched straight into the lead.
Yeah, you could say it was pay attention, but if it was waved straight away, it's a bit tough call.
But what else are you doing on the grid, Luigi? What else are you doing? Finishing your book? Finishing your cup of tea? Like, aren't you just waiting for the flag to fall? They should be paying attention.
You've got to stretch your fingers a little bit, get ready for holding the gear stick and,
Oh, well, I'm calling that a nonsense start from Stewart and Amon.
Yeah. Were they that far back, though?
I don't know.
Well, let's see where they are after one lap.
So at the end of one lap, Regazzoni was in the lead, then Fittipaldi in the Lotus, and X, yes, he's from 8th, then Holm, and then Rodriguez, and Stewart is 7th.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's fair enough. That's a nonsense start. While we don't have a definition of you have to go from this to that.
No,
it's a feel, right?
It's a feel. It's a gut feeling. Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but where's Amon?
I don't know. I don't think he's even mentioned. He's so far back that Mart Lang just ignored him. So I'm calling that more of a nonsense start than Stewart.
Yeah, that you're biased in that regard, I think. But you're defending Stewart, and so much for me liking Amon. But maybe the facts are facts, and Eamon wins the official nonsense start title. Is that something we can agree on?
I think so. Fair enough. Yes. So the early laps were packed, nose to tail action, tons of position changes.
And Stewart was clawing back, and Eamon still missing in action, unfortunately.
So Holm was a standout though. He started 7th and he passed X on lap 2, Fittipaldi on lap 4, and started chasing Regazzoni for the lead. That's a big move.
Yeah, and Holm was flying because by 10, he and Regazzoni were 5 seconds clear of Rodriguez in 3rd. So that was pretty impressive.
And Stewart is now up to 4th. So he's getting back there.
Yeah, he's making up because he's a talent, right? So lap 17, this is where we have one of the big moments of the race where Holm actually overtakes Regazzoni and he just takes off.
Wow. What's he in again? What's he driving, Louis?
Yeah, I was just having a double check. Holm,
I think he's a match.
I thought he was in the McLaren.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, normally we mention these things, but I forgot. Yes, he's in the McLaren.
Oh, that's pretty good. And then Rodriguez, out of nowhere, blasts past both Andretti and Stewart into 3rd. So the midfield was just chaos. There's a lot happening in there.
Yeah, it's very exciting, these first 17 laps or so. And Siffert, he started 16th in the race, so he didn't have a great first race with BRM, but he was on a charge. But Andretti got smart, and then he passed Stewart and Rodriguez to give himself a bit of a buffer.
Then Siffert gets past Stewart too. I'm struggling what's happening here. This order is a mess in my head.
There's a lot of people on different charges at different paces.
That's right.
So here's what we've got. We've got Holm leading and pulling away, a bit out of the blue. Regazzoni in 2nd in the Ferrari, Andretti in the Ferrari 3rd, and he was being hunted down by Rodriguez and Siffert. And maybe Surtees is in there too, but it's a bit murky.
Yeah, this is a seriously hard one to keep a track of.
Yeah. Then on lap 31, there was heartbreak for Siffert because his engine started to overheat and he's out.
Oh, no. And more BRM pain. A body panel shifted on Rodriguez's car, sending hot radiator air into the cockpit.
Wow, that's not what you want on a blazing hot day. So, yeah, of course he has to retire too. I mean, I think that's like over 100 degrees sort of thing, right?
Yeah. That would be, and it was a hot day. Yeah, exactly. So making his F1 debut, which we didn't really mention at the top, is Ganley. He's in a BRM, and he retired from pure exhaustion because of the heat. He came back 20 minutes later. Like, why would you bother? But he eventually had to give up and retire from the race.
Yeah, interesting. And we've had all this drama, and we're only at the halfway mark of the race. So, yeah, Holm is still leading. Regazzoni's tyres are a mess, and he's suffering from massive vibration now.
Wow, it's just like the start of the 2022 ground effect era, Louis, where the tyres were all shaky.
Yeah, or in the ground effect era, it was the car.
Yeah. Was it the car? Was it shaking? Was it?
Yeah, the whole car because of the ground effect.
Was that the bouncing thing? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So lap 46, but to be honest, I have to say quickly, to the driver, it probably feels the same.
Yeah.
Whether it's the tyre or the ground effect, it feels bad. So, yeah. So lap 46, Siffert actually in his till crashes, and the cause, sweat in his eyes.
Wow.
It was that hot that, I mean, I thought he looks like he's got bushy eyebrows. That's what eyebrows are for.
Not enough. Yeah. Not enough for this.
He's not French enough.
No. Yeah, no, bad.
And that was pretty bad. So with 20 laps left, Andretti is now just 4 seconds behind Holm. So Andretti's doing a bit of a charge because Holm was pulling away initially, and he's actually pushing hard.
So Stewart's also charging. By lap 66, he passes Regazzoni for 3rd, but he's still 17 seconds behind Andretti.
Yeah, so the tension is ramping up because with 4 laps to go, Holm's lead is now down to just 1 second, and Andretti is all over him.
Then some drama. A bolt drops off of Holm's McLaren. The car becomes undrivable.
It's so sad because Andretti pounces, takes the lead, and 5 minutes later, Andretti, who barely drives in this season, wins the race.
Yep, and Holm limps home in 6th. Brutal. That is a brutal ending for him. He led the whole way.
Yeah. And Stewart finishes 2nd, which is not a bad recovery from a bad start and constant midfield battles by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Reggers only holds on to 3rd in that, difficult car to drive, that Ferrari. And
yep.
Wissel in the Lotus takes 4th. And our nonsense starter, who we barely mentioned through the whole race review.
Well, we didn't know where he was.
5th. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He snuck up into 5th.
Why, hang on. Where did Whistle qualify? We didn't even mention him either.
He qualified 14th.
Okay, that's a really good finish then. And Andretti, that is a good win. I think he debuted in 1968, and this is I think he's only ever finished one race since then up to now. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, so a pretty wild race. Heartbreak for Holm. Heat.
Yeah.
Eamon. Not Eamon.
Severt.
And the other guy.
And Ganley.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chaos and a heroic finish. Oh, I don't know if heroic is the right word for...
Nah.
Andretti took it. He took it from Holm.
It was a bit bad luck for Holm. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, that's just round 1. Gosh.
Yeah, and we've already hit the 30-minute mark, Rosa. So,
oh my gosh.
For those of you that don't know, we're going to start reducing the episodes down to 30 minutes just to make it a bit easier for your ears.
Yeah,
so
and time
we'll wrap
management.
it up after this one, but let's hear the ratings are what they are.
Yeah, so we've got Mario Andretti in the lead on 9, Jackie Stewart on 6, and Regazzoni on 4. And yeah, Ferrari's at the top of the constructor table with 9 points. Tyrrell is on 6 and Lotus is on 3. All right, well, we'll leave it there and we will come back for part 2.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.